Our group chose Buddhism as our main subject point for this project. The house of worship we visited was Charlottetruebuddha Temple located off Monroe Road. Not being familiar with the community, we didn't expect much from our visit other than a witnessing of a short worship session consisting of mostly meditation. Contrary to what we thought, the community was quite large and the ceremony was very intricate. When we arrived for the service, one of the first things we noticed was how finely decorated the temple was. The exterior of the temple resembled that of traditional Chinese architecture, with a shrine outside of the main entrance for incense offerings and an area to take off one's shoes. The interior had dozens of ornate statues and tapestries, which are associated with Tibetan Buddhist beliefs. The statues resembled the many Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and Dharma protectors in the Vajrayana Buddhist lore, which was the sect of Buddhism the simple practice. The layout of the temple consisted of 3 rooms, a large central chamber housing the many idols, ornaments, and shrines, a library/office in the right wing, which was closed off during the ceremony, and a kitchen/common room in the left wing. As we entered the temple, we were greeted by one of the coordinators of the ceremony. Although most of the people who worshipped there spoke little to no English, she was very kind and accommodating, leading us past the embroidered pillows laid out across the floor to some chairs meant for those who could not kneel or those like us who were just there to observe. She introduced us to a translator who would help us understand what was being said during the ceremony and the meaning behind what was being done. Most of the Buddhists here to follow the teachings of Lian Xing and practice Vajrayana Buddhism, a branch that originated in Tibet and is known as the Great Vehicle or Diamond Vehicle. This form of Buddhism relies on both the Guru and Dharma teachings for spiritual advancement and the possibility of attaining Buddhahood in one lifetime. Lian Xing enforces these teachings and is considered a living Buddha by his followers. Although most who attend believe in these teachings, the temple is open to all who are interested in practicing Buddhism. We discovered that unlike their normal services held on Sundays, this was for the coming of spring, and several revered spiritual leaders came from Seattle, where their main temple is, to perform a special ceremony. As the service began, everyone stood up and began to chant in Mandarin, welcoming the ceremonial master and others involved. The ceremonial master wore brown robes and golden embroidery, while other members of the congregation wore more plain orange robes. The chanting continued until he was seated in front of everyone attending, and then everyone else took their seats. Most of the ceremonies consisted of several chants and hand gestures for the reverence of the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and Dharma protectors, and these were sometimes repeated over 100 times. Although these became very repetitive, it did seem to almost create a sense of tranquility by clearing your mind. During the several of these chants, the ceremonial leader used a bell called the Vajra bell. This is used to set boundary for spiritual beings attending the ceremony, allowing only spirits that are invited to enter. In between the chanting, 2 of the spiritual leaders gave sermons. The first leader gave a sermon about a female Bodhisattva who rejected Buddhist to help others, but explained how those who do this can sometimes lose sight of their karma and become careless with their bad deeds. He also explained how Buddhism can work in practical ways, using an example of a man who refused aid to offer an island because he believed one of the Buddhas themselves would save him. The ceremonial leader also gave a sermon telling others to not rely on interpretations of their fate and instead seek teaching to change your fate. After these speeches and a few more chants, the ceremonial leader gave his blessings to the congregation by touching each of their heads with a scepter. Once this was done, the spiritual leaders began walking around the temple, giving incense offerings to the shrines. In conclusion, this was our trip to the Buddhist temple.